My name is Cindy Olsen, and I'm honored to be with you today. I'm here with Pause to Be Present Meditation, which is a meditation studio in Westchester, New York, and it's a physical studio, everything to be virtual as of, and we have a full virtual studio with programming available all day. And so if you like what you witnessed today and want to try on some more, then I encourage you to visit pausetobepresent.com. They have some beautiful teachers and programs to offer the whole world. So my name is Cindy Olsen, as I said, and and I want to tell you a little bit about my life and why I'm on the other side of your screen today. So if you would have seen sort of a movie montage of my life, it started off, as a little girl. I had a very disrupted childhood, a positive one, but moving around a lot, broken family, and I had a single mother who, with no ties to her family, had to figure out how to make her ends meet. And so she worked very, very hard. And it was just her and I, and we both had to work hard. So I had to learn how to fix toilets. And when things broke, I was the one, we had to take care of that together as two women. And what happened was that I saw that hard work really paid off because she was able to provide us with a comfortable living as a mother and child. So I followed in her footsteps and became a really, really hard worker too. I was always known as the person that would turn the lights on and the lights off in any job that I did. And I was given, a lot of promotion. I climbed the ladder and I became a finance executive in the media industry. And I kind of checked all the boxes. I followed everyone's instructions. I went to college and got the job, climbed the ladder. I got married. I had 2 kids, lived in a house. Everything was good. And on paper, and then inside, if you looked inside of me, it was a mess. I was not enjoying my life. I was missing it because I was so busy trying to keep up with all of the demands that I thought I needed to keep up with to live what is so-called a happy life. And it really started to disable me. So if anyone, with us today has suffered from anxiety in their life, it's really crippling. And I wanted to find a healthy way to, a healthy antidote. And I had heard about this mindfulness practice. This is about 10 years ago. And I started diving deeper into that as a way to meet my own anxiety. And what I want to admit to you today, if you're new to meditation, is that for me, it was very difficult to meditate. The idea of sitting still and closing my eyes and having this image of someone just sitting with their eyes closed and no movement was very challenging for me. I had a very busy mind and felt like I needed to be moving all the time. And so I found nature to be the one place that I could do that more easily. And I know I share that with many, that it's kind of effortless to watch a sunset or, watch a wave come in on the ocean or just watch it pass by a beautiful flower and have it catch your attention. And so I started to weave the two together, and that's my specialty, is bringing nature and mindfulness together because I think that that's a really doorway into meditation. It was for me. I started by just sitting in nature peacefully with my eyes open, just noticing what was happening in the present moment. And that grew to being able to drop my eyes for 1 minute, then 10 minutes, then 30 minutes. And then I started to notice my life began to shift. And my coffee tasted better. My kids were more fun. My husband got cuter. Everything kind of started to lighten up and feel better. Opportunities began to come my way. And it's continued down that path. And now today I'm on the other side of the screen with you, sharing this practice with you, because I believe that if you learn, you should teach, right? Share what works for you. And so, maybe you'll take a nugget from today and make your life a little bit better, make today a little bit better. And Amy can bring in another nugget, and then Karen can bring in another. And, if you carry it all with you, you can see these shifts in your life that can breathe better. So it's tough times. It's tough times for us all. We're all sharing kind of this situation as a community and as women. And so being able to come together and practice, give each other permission to hit pause and to breathe together and find relaxation in a place where we can be clear. I mean, I can't imagine what's more important than that. And I commend you all for being here at 4 o'clock on a Monday, because I know that Mondays can often take you to your knees with what you thought was going to happen versus what happens. So the first step is showing up, right? So what is mindfulness? Though this word is in the headlines a lot lately, and it, it's almost to a point of almost being overused. Like some people almost resist the word mindfulness. So I want to talk a little bit about what I see as mindfulness being. And it tends to draw up that image I talked about with people sitting with their eyes closed in complete stillness. I don't think it actually looks like that. It can look like that. It can also look like when you feel how soft your pillow is when you wake up in the morning. It can also look like when you pull up to a stoplight and you just take a nice deep breath and you just notice what you want to pay attention to in that moment. It can look like just taking a split-second pause before you respond to someone in a conversation that might be challenging. And it can really look like paying attention to the quality of a smile on someone's face that's near you. And it could be just someone in the grocery line. But just being able to take in those simple moments, all that simplicity that's around us, the fact that we're all sitting on our little slices of earth, using this technology to be together, things like that. So I think, to me, that's what mindfulness is. It's being able to take in the present moment and being able to direct your attention and awareness to where you'd like it to be. You being able to meet whatever comes next with a choice. So none of us, we all may have calendars and plans. None of us actually know what's coming next. And this is a way to meet whatever that is with grace. So the definition of mindfulness is being present and aware of what we are experiencing as we are experiencing it without judging. I'll admit I'm still not mindful all the time, but I really try to check in with myself throughout the day. Just little moments of checking in, and there's meditation centers actually that will have a bell and they'll just remind you on the hour to just take a breath, take a pause and breathe. And that's something that you can do. I'll wrap up our practice at the end with just some little things that you can do in your life to take this and actually bring it forward into your life. It doesn't have to be an hour of meditations in stillness each day. It can be those little moments that I just spoke about. So I'd love to walk you guys through a practice in my style. And I want you to keep in mind, though, that there are thousands and thousands of ways to practice mindfulness. Like I mentioned before, the nature meditation where you just have your eyes open and you're noticing the simplicity of what's happening around you. And then there's many, many levels of how you can concentrate on an object. You can have a mantra. And so I encourage you to keep trying if this is new to you. It's just like exercise. If you do it once, you won't necessarily see the impact. You have to keep kind of trying to do it again and again, and eventually things start to click and it works. But this is the antidote for so much of our stress and suffering. So it's really worth it. It's really worth the try. All right, so let's try some practice. The first step is to get into your comfortable seat. So just find a place where you're comfortably seated with a strong posture, but an easy posture. You want to be able to breathe and have an open heart. And if you're not seated, then you can also lay down. You can be in a chair or on the ground. I'm actually sitting cross-legged on a couch. And then and then I'd like you just to take a nice deep breath in and let yourself get centered, let things settle. I'm going to do that for myself as well. Breathing in and letting go. And I'm actually going to keep my eyes open for just a moment, because the first step I like to do is just know where I am before I close my eyes. So I just scan the room or the window that I'm looking at with open attention, and I'm noticing whatever shapes and colors and movement is happening around me. And that really helps me come into the present moment, as well as allows you to let that gaze either soften or close your eyes completely and feel comfortable. And just continuing to take some inventory of our present moment with our senses. You can move on to that sense of sound and just notice what sounds are around you. My friend Amy, who's on with me, said it so perfectly when we're doing these Zoom calls. You're hearing my voice, and then you're also hearing whatever's happening on your side of the screen, which we call the symphony of life. Right? It's this mix of human and non-human sounds. And sound is really interesting because that can be something in our practice that you can actually use as an anchor if it's soothing. And it can also be something that can be distracting. And so it's a beautiful teacher on how to kind of take those distractions and turn down the volume just a little bit, like you had your hand on the volume knob. So now that you've noticed the sounds around you, just start to feel where you are. Notice your body and how it's connected to whatever's supporting you. And how strong that is, just gravity pulling on your body and letting your body kind of surrender to that, becoming heavy. We're still with our natural breath. And I also like to notice the gentle touch, the touch on my skin from whatever air is moving around my body, or just the difference of where your skin's exposed versus where your clothing kind of blocks that airflow. Now we're just going to start to melt away our tension on a full moon on a Monday. What better time? So beginning with the crown of your head, just allowing the forehead to soften, letting the space around your eyes become relaxed, letting your jaw kind of loosen up. Sometimes we clench there when we're stressed or tense. Oh, and then that neck, that popular place for us to carry our stress, just letting it fall, surrender to gravity. Imagining that it was like a piece of ice that could just melt in the sun, just kind of slowly letting go. And here I like to take another nice big inhale. And let go with a nice long exhale. For me, I notice that the longer my exhale, the more I'm able to let go and become relaxed. And continuing to scan down our body, noticing if those shoulders dropped a little when you let your neck loosen and soften. Maybe your arms get a little heavier. And then we can draw our attention to that heart space and notice that as those shoulders dropped a little, that maybe you felt a little bit of an opening in the heart. Maybe that next inhale can just fill your heart space up a little bit more. And continuing to move down the belly area. For me, that's where anxiety really lives. So when something surprises you, catches you off guard, you hear some upsetting news, or even if you're really excited about something, a lot of it tends to live right there in that abdomen area. So if we can continue, just allow that to just soften. Really let your next exhale pour any tension that's sitting there out of your body. And I like to stay there for a few breaths because for me, I hold a lot right there. When my belly and my abdomen are soft and relaxed, and I can just feel like the anxiety is just falling away. And continuing down, just notice your hip points, which is a place we store so much emotion. And again, just imagining that they just melt like a piece of butter or something, just kind of softly getting looser, letting go of tension. Allowing your legs to become heavy. Noticing your feet. And if breath is something that's challenging for you as an anchor, as it is for some, then I often find that the soles of the feet can be a nice alternative. We don't tend to store a lot of stress in that particular point. And so you can always hold your attention there if you need another anchor possibility. And then as we become more relaxed, we can start to really enjoy the breath a little bit more. Allowing ourselves to inhale a little more fully. Noticing that soft rhythm of your body under your breath. And the reason why we love to use the breath as an anchor is because it's something that we all share, and it's something that's always with us. So at any moment, you can come back to this. So just notice the beauty of that breath coming in. Maybe notice how it feels entering your nose, that cool air. And as you release it, how it's warmed by your body. And you know, with this full moon that we're sitting with, it's a really wonderful time. It represents, the coming to fruition of things that you want to grow in your life. And it represents the letting go. The moon is going to be letting go, right? It's going to be becoming smaller. So maybe with the next few breaths, you can think about what that would mean to you. If you were able to breathe in more of what you need in your life, and exhale whatever is stale and not serving you. And I think that's something that we need to do constantly. Just like the cells in your body turn over again and again, so does our breath. So notice if you have any tension remaining. And if you do, sometimes a tendency if we have discomfort is to kind of avoid it, push it away, and try to focus on something more pleasant. It can also be a nice thing to try to go to that place of discomfort with like some loving attention. So I often have a place in my neck that becomes very tense and tight. And when that happens, and I try to relax, or I'm going through this process of melting my tension, I'll actually go to that place specifically, but in a loving, kind way, not in a judgmental way. And they say just kind of hold it like a baby, tenderly. And I notice when I do that, it'll kind of create space for wherever that discomfort is. It allows it to have sort of like a bigger room, like it was confined to a small room and you're allowing it to grow. And then I'll notice that it isn't as strong. It gets a little bit quieter. So you may also notice that your mind is trying to do its job and make you busy again. Things rise like thoughts, emotions, plans, fantasies. That's what the mind does. But this practice connects you to the fact that there's something else. There's the things that you feel, and there's the things that you think. And then there's the self, the true self, that's actually having those thoughts and feelings. And so what we're doing is we're coming home to that true self. I love the metaphor of the sky for that true self, that, you are that blue sky, your true self, clear, full of wisdom, vast. And then these clouds come by. That's life, whatever sound comes up and distracts you. Whatever thought, oh, did I forget to do something? That's a cloud. Or loss or grief. Those are big clouds. So sometimes the clouds are really, really big. Sometimes they're easy to move away, and other times it's harder. But thinking of them as clouds allows us to kind of keep it more in the background. Notice the space between you and the clouds, and notice that the clouds, they come and go. That's life. And if you can just connect with your blue sky and grow in your peacefulness, then whatever comes next, you'll be ready for. So for some, this practice is very challenging. It was for me, as I said, when I began. When you can find a place of whatever relaxation and peace you can find in this present moment right now for yourself, just sit with that without any criticism or judgment if it's not going the way you think it should. I think we all need to learn to have more self-compassion for ourselves. And if we can do that, if we can have more compassion for ourselves as individuals, stop criticizing ourselves, and we can stay connected to that true self, knowing that there's an observer behind all of this that's so clear and calm and wise, then you can start to feel this sense of peace just become so much bigger that it overflows you. And in that spaciousness, all that peace that you have, you can have enough that you can actually offer it to others. So spending a moment to do that, because that really does fill our hearts. Thinking about all those squares that you saw on the screen when you first joined us. And knowing that here we are spread around the country, sitting on our own little slices of the earth, all looking to find a peaceful moment together. And just feeling the energy of that. All having this similar experience, breathing together. I think the most beautiful things about humans is when they come together and connect around something good. And then expanding that thought, reaching it out beyond our community that we have right now together, thinking about the other people, the other beings in your life that you care for, and just sending a wave of peace their way too. Just wishing them well, wishing them peace. And to take it even a step further, you can think of someone in your life that maybe is a little more challenging. And see what happens when you send a wave of peace their way. Notice what that does to you, how that feels in your body. And bringing in another big, gentle breath, allowing your body to fill with this fresh air. And then that's letting go, exhale. So just sitting with the peace of this simple moment, this simple quiet moment that we have connected to each other. It's a nice moment to think about an intention in your life, something that just a little shift. It doesn't have to be saving the world today, but just maybe something small that you could do that you'd like a little bit more of. Maybe more of this, maybe more of just weaving peace throughout your life. And knowing that you have the strength, you have the capacity to do this at any time. So thinking about whatever that intention is for you and just breathing that into your heart, letting that pour into you. Fill up every cell in your body with that intention. Because we know, science tells us that when we do that, that those intentions can become real. In a moment, I'll ring the bell to cue our transition from our mindful meditation practice. But know that you can take your time moving out of the practice. You can continue practicing if you like, or just enjoy the sound of the bell, which reminds us of the moment of now. I'm just flipping through the 5 pages of names and faces. Just makes me think that if there's this many people practicing this, that we just sent this huge wave of calm and peaceful energy out into the world. And I think we all know that the world could really use that right now. So I wish you all a beautiful day.